I want to just talk about, my progress as far as the aftermath of dealing with a narcissistic person. And I have a lot of thoughts. I've been listening to a couple people that I follow that talk about narcissistic abuse, and very helpful videos, but there are aspects of it that I feel like not a lot of people will understand unless you truly been through the abuse. For me personally, I just decided, for me as a person, as a woman, as an individual, that I don't want to explore romantic relationships at this point in my life. And it's not just the narcissistic abuse. Was that a catalyst? Was that a big part of my decision? Yes, but I remember being, in a church one time, it was a visiting prophet, pastor, whatever. He came and he said to me, he said, "You need to be very careful. People, they will take advantage of you. They will see you as gullible." And I remember being real offended at that comment. Not in a real offended way, like he couldn't talk to me, but just kind of like what, in my head, I'm like, what does he mean by that? What he trying to say? And me looking back on a situation I was in, with somebody I was supposedly engaged to before this last relationship I had. It was years ago. So this person got back in contact with me. And I think it answered a lot of questions as to what that individual meant when he said, people will see you as gullible. Mind you, I went through so much with this individual in a short period of time. I won't say it was all his fault. I had to looking back, I can see my own immaturity in the situation. But overall, that person saw me as gullible, because even now, this person returned to me. This is an ex from years ago. He was like, it's been like 9 years. The thing about that, even him saying it's been like 9 years, the thing about that is the person he's with now, he had to be with that person when he was with me. I didn't even bring it up. I didn't mention it to him. But when we were revisiting our situation, I was saying, when we were supposed to be engaged and be together, you would have had to been with that person you're with now. And he said something to me also. He said, "Oh, I've never been single." And I'm saying, what? Like, in my head, I'm like, what? So it lets me know he was always in other relationships, even when we connected and disconnected. And when he got out of prison and we reconnected, he was already still had other relationships going on. This is what I'm figuring out now after 9 years. So I'm realizing he proposed to me probably 5 times. I don't really consider it a true engagement just because he never got me a ring. And then we ended up parting ways when we were supposed to be engaged. I ended the relationship because I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere, and I felt like the direction I was getting from God was, this is not it. This ain't the one. This ain't happening. And now looking back, I realized God protected me. Like he really, really intervened in that situation. Now that I remember all the prophetic, the spiritual things that happened that stopped that marriage from happening. Because even though he didn't get me a ring, I got in a real bad car accident arguing with him about some girl that he was messing with, and he came to see me in the hospital. And that was after that happened, he was just like, I'm not waiting any longer. Like, I was going to wait, because I was telling him he needs to get himself together, because I had moved to Atlanta and he needs to come up there where I was at. It was like so many things kept getting in the way of him coming to Atlanta. And now looking back on it, I realized that was God, because that was never meant to be. Me not knowing this person was in other relationships and was still trying to actually marry me, even though he wasn't ready. Come to find out, he doesn't even have the same belief system. He even admitted to me, since us talking recently, that he only did that. He only did that to try to be in a relationship with me, when he doesn't have the same belief system. He doesn't really have the same values as I do. He just did it so that I wouldn't leave him alone. And everything, all of the circumstances, I feel like the different ways God can speak, the circumstances, his choices, my choices, everything was God saying, no, this isn't it. And I just didn't see it until it was almost cataclysmic. Like, so many things happened. Like, I got in a real bad car accident, but I was okay. I was T-boned. I had a neck brace, but I ended up not having any real injuries, serious injuries, but my car was totaled. I now knew that was God, even in that, because the enemy was trying to use that situation, you know, for something to be happen to me in that car, and God really did protect me. So I understand it better now. I don't think he is a narcissistic individual, but because I felt like there was some care for me in that situation, but he definitely manipulated me, and he definitely thought I was naive. So this time around, I felt like he let me know, like, his relationship ended. He's not in a good place right now. And I'm not judging him, because I'm not in the best place. But what I am saying is that I don't know completely what it is with me. But people tend to come to me when they're struggling and they want my help. But when I was with you and in a relationship with you, you were playing games the whole time. And it's like they'll meet a genuine person and they want to revisit. And I'm saying to myself, where I'm at right now and the healing that I need, first of all, I don't want to go backwards. He told me, you don't believe me as your ex? No, you had a time in my life where I considered you as a partner. And now I'm realizing how stupid and ignorant was I to even look at you that way, because the same things that, I'll put it like this, the same clues that I was getting, I can see it fully manifested now, that even though I was a positive influence and he told me, like, certain things, he hasn't been in trouble, he's doing well, he has a good job, but I can see all of the other things that would have been a detriment if we had ever got together, ever been married, manifested. So I'm just like, you're in the same place you were 9 years ago in a lot of ways. And maybe it was a test, but I was like, no, I don't want to continue talking to you. I'm glad you're checking on me. You say you just want to see how I was doing. And I feel like people love to do this to me. They love to circle the block when they need help. But when they're doing well and they're okay, I don't hear from them. And it almost makes me feel like they only when they need something, whether it's emotional support, whether it's financial, whatever. And I'm like, I was kind of for a while saying, what is it about me? And now I understand not having good boundaries. People know, now I need to be cheered up. I need the emotional. My girl left me. He even said, I need the love and the romance. And I'm like, I was giving you that when I was with you, and it wasn't enough. As a matter of fact, you was in another relationship, now that I understand. And can read between the lines and going back and sorting the pieces of what happened between me and you and why we actually separated. And it's like, now that you don't have that, you want to lean on me? No, I don't even have the emotional and mental capacity to help people in that way. And I feel like maybe part of my gifting is to help people, but not in this place that I'm in. And when it comes to the narcissistic situation, with my daughter's father, I tried to allow him to still be in her life, and it got to the point where he just did something he have no business doing, to my vehicle, and it's just like, that is a done deal. Like, not even for sake of seeing his daughter, he cannot come around me at all. That's just done. It's not even minimal contact, great. Right? It's just like, I don't want to have anything to do with him. I'm just at a place like, I feel like I'm tired of living in survival mode, and I literally, for the most part, cut everybody off because I felt like I'm bleeding out, and I'm yelling into a void, especially when dealing with a narcissistic individual. And I heard this on somebody's video, and that's just the way I felt. Like, I'm yelling into a void. Nobody is seeing I'm crying for help. Nobody is seeing how I am doing everything I could, all the strength I could muster up to just survive this and move forward in life. And it seemed like so many things, were, have been coming up, and I've been trying to just push through, and I know, especially in the Black community, we believe in like I wasn't keeping my house tidy. Like, I wasn't doing anything really. I was dealing and drowning in depression and postpartum depression as well, and the abuse, the physical abuse, the mental abuse, the verbal abuse, the walking on eggshells, the chaotic situations, the not even feeling like your nerves is shot, like your PTSD, like, seriously. And it's just like, now that I've been trying to, what I did, and I know a lot of women don't, probably out of pride, you feel like, I don't want to have nobody come clean my house. I should be able to manage everything on my own. For me personally, I'm not going to say this is forever, but what I decided to do, even though it's a stretch financially, I have somebody to come once or twice a month just to help me maintain and to clean up, and I maintain. And that's what's been happening it's been brought me so much peace because my space is organized. I don't feel so guilty, and the person who I've come to clean up for me, I don't even like to call it that, but she's been such a blessing to me, and I needed that. And so I would just, say to anybody who's dealing with narcissistic abuse and you're having trouble keeping up with organization or, doing things you need to do. And it did help me because, I have a lot of doctor's appointments. I've been putting all that stuff off. I haven't been doing any self-care because I've just been feeling like I've been living in a nightmare. My uncle abused one of my aunts for a long time. And I used to always come to the house and used to be a mess. And I used to be like, why do she let her house get like this? Now that I went through what I've been through, and I wasn't judging her, but I just used to wonder what's up. And now I remember days where my uncle she would cook dinner and try to clean up. And he'll take the food and he'll throw it all over the floor of their trailer or their house or wherever they was living. He would keep her in a depressive state so she would not be able to function. And I don't care what nobody say, there's a spiritual side to that. But it made me think of those moments in my childhood where I saw that and didn't have full understanding as to what was going on. And now that I'm an adult, and it made it hard for her to keep a job, and it made for her hard to focus on. She finally got her degree, but it took her so much longer to finish school. She does social work, and she always was a sweet person. And I used to say, why do he treat her like that? And narcissistic people, she should have had that degree, been done with her degree. It took her probably, I believe, like 10 years to complete her degree, just because she was with a narcissistic person. You know, that's how I know narcissism. Yes, there are character traits and personality, and I do believe there may be things in their brain that don't align with a normal human being, but it is a spiritual aspect to that 100%, because, you know, I'm like looking at the pattern of what I dealt with now, and looking those memories of seeing my aunt, and I used to defend her. He would leave her alone, at least while I was there, for a little while. But it would be very short-lived. He would end up doing something to her when we get ready to leave, or he just got tired of me bothering with him, and he'll just do whatever he want to do to her. And it was really just to make her feel so small and defeated that she would just live in a pigsty and not take care of herself, and could barely take care of the kids, and didn't have the finances to do much with her life, that she would just, like, to me, she was shriveling up and dying. She regained her strength, but guess what? It was after my uncle started getting sick. And she decided to come back to him. She left him for a while. She came back and to take care of him. She felt guilty, and she's still taking care of him. And, you know, I'm not here to judge, but I'm like, man, he treated you terrible for years, and now he need your help. You know, I do think there is karma for the narcissist, but I'm like, this is over 30 years. This lady life was miserable for probably 25 of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, miserable. I would complain to my mom about it, and then realizing the apple don't fall far, so I end up meeting someone like that in my own life that carried that same spirit. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think about. But now I'm like, I am in the healing process, but I just feel like, and as I see that, I haven't even gotten out of that good, and here comes another ex trying. Like, my mind is like, I know other people may look at it different, but I'm like, heck no. Like, I want to explore what God put me here for, my gifts, my talents. And it's not to say other people aren't important, but I have to be selfish in this season. And I don't know how long this season gonna last, but it's like, no, you know, like, I want to explore who I am, because to me, I am not the same person I was before. I don't even know if that person, I don't think that person exists anymore after dealing with such severe narcissistic abuse. I'm not trying to get back to that person. At first I was saying, I want to get back to me. I want to get back to me. But I'm realizing the me that I was didn't have good boundaries. The me that I was very gullible. The me that I was suffered from extreme low self-esteem and not trusting her own judgment, because as dealing with, I wouldn't say a narcissistic parent, but a parent who had narcissistic traits, because I can't say she was that malignant narcissist, but very narcissistic traits. That's why I believe it's not always the person themselves, because I do believe Jezebel is real, and the traits of that spirit can be on somebody, even a good person, and they can operate out of that if they allow that to control their personality. But there are some people who have at some point, I don't know when, come in full agreement with that spirit, and now that thing takes over their character. It possesses their character. That's a different thing to me in my observation. So I'm looking at it now like I don't know, that person is gone. And there's a part of me that's still there, but it's like for me, I have to be completely different. I have to really morph into what God called me to be, whatever that is. But that gullible person, that naive person, that without walls type of person, like no boundaries, thinking that means you're a good person. No, that means you got boo boo the fool on your forehead, because that's not the norm in this dispensation of life. In this, when Jesus say, till the end of the age, we ain't at the end. We're close. I believe we're close, but we're not at the end of the age yet. And until we get to that new heaven and new earth, however that looks, however that comes, however God makes that to be, this place where we at, you have to operate with strong boundaries. You have to follow your first mind. In some instances, it could be life or death, or it could be very detrimental. You have to. We have this thing where I feel like even in movies, it's like you don't trust your first mind. You want to give people this benefit of the doubt because you don't want to seem like you are paranoid, or you are antisocial, or you are whatever. But it's important to use those instincts and survival skills, because it will help you. Not saying you're gonna avoid it 100%, but it will help you protect yourself against this type of supernatural abuse, demonic supernatural abuse, because it's tied in, to this matrix. And I just look at it like now, like, no. And I felt, and I still, even when my ex was saying, oh, you blocked me, I said, because you asked how I was doing, I want to leave it at that. I don't want nothing with you. I'm not trying to mess with you. I don't want no we could be friends. It don't have to be nothing more than that. No, I know people motives, because they feel like I don't have strong boundaries. He kept saying, I don't accept that. I don't want to accept that. You saying you don't want to have anything to do with me, and it wasn't all bad. We didn't break up on terrible terms. I'm like, well, you're remembering something different than I did. Was it as bad as other relationships? No, but it wasn't. I was being deceived the whole time. And some people, they don't take it as serious as you. They feel like, okay, they was having fun. Yeah, they was playing games with you. But they feel like, I miss them. They was a good person in my life. And I'm like, I am not. You may think I'm expendable, but I can't even give you that energy that I was giving you when we were in a relationship. I'm not trying to. I need to conserve every bit of what's good that's left of me for me. And I need to heal from my own situation. And I'm not looking for, because sometimes what people do, I noticed something that people will do. They will try to find a weak point or a place. That's how narcissists get you. They find a place where you are lacking, and they will come and fill in, and you will get comfortable with them filling in. And then they start to do things that are adverse towards you. And now you're more apt to get them another chance, or deal with them, or try to see why things aren't cohesive anymore, instead of saying, you know what, this don't work. I'm not dealing with that. We'll keep trying to make that's what I feel like a lot of empathetic people do. You're still trying to see why is it off, instead of saying, you know what, I've dealt with this, I've addressed this with you, and it ain't what I need it to be. Done deal. We want to keep trying to see why isn't it working. And me and my daughter even had this conversation. We have a tendency a lot of times as good people to feel like, well, they were good to me for 10 years. But if the last year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm not talking about issues. I'm saying, well, this person's character have changed or diminished, or to the point it's not aligning and it's serious things. That 10 years, yeah, okay, they was good in that particular point, but they're not good for you anymore. There has to be a cutoff point. And you can't excuse things that you know are blatantly toxic to say that, well, they was good at first. Because most of the time, we see the symptoms, but we don't see what is really causing the disease. And a lot of times, sometimes people can hide that. People say, oh, you should have known. Sometimes people can hide it, at least from it manifesting fully, for you to see what they really got going on. And I know this for a fact because another situation happened with a friend of mine, and everything has really just blown up and came to a head. Nobody would never thought it would be anything like that. And my heart of hearts and my mind, my spirit's like, no, that's been cooking. I'm gonna just put it like that because I don't put nobody's business out there, but that's been cooking. It's just manifested. God allowed you to He revealed it. He snatched the covers off of it for you to see it. But that been cooking. And even that's why I realized, like, even with my ex, like, that been cooking. You're just learning the truth years later about parts of it you already knew, but the fullness of it is clearly seen now that you're out of that relationship. You did the right thing. I was feeling guilty. I was feeling like another failed relationship. I was so mad at myself, even though in my heart of hearts, I knew I did the right thing. And sometimes you just have to trust your instinct and your first mind, because God allowed me to see that what He told me about that individual was right. No need to feel sorry. No need to be upset. And now He want to use sympathy to re-enter your life. And for what? No, His season has passed. Let that be what it is. That's not a relationship I want to rekindle. Not even a friendship. I don't want nothing to do with none of my past on that level. God. And I'm just like, maybe I feel like sometimes maybe God is saying to us who are healing from narcissistic abuse, are you serious about wanting to change your life? And it may be difficult to really because I could use this as a season of loneliness and be like, because he was like, basically like, he lonely. Like, no, I'm not connecting with you on that mess. I want to be healed. I want to be whole. I'm not trauma bonding with you. That's not what it is. If I got to do this healing and journey by myself, like it's been, then that's what it is. That's what it is, because I cannot afford to go down the wrong path and keep saying, what am I doing wrong? No, I acknowledge that there are things about my personality that are codependent. There are things about my personality that are I want to see the benefit of the doubt instead of saying, no, the proof is in the pudding. This is what this person is doing, and you need to accept that, and you need to move on, and you don't need to feel guilty about doing what is best for you. And if you're wrong, humble yourself and say, God, show me. Move on. Don't keep letting people play with you, because you'll waste years of your life.